Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I'm just going to get this out real quick before I have to get back to a heavy treatment day for my health. So we are coming to you live from the floor again. Another Floorcast episode in the Floorcast series. We should have a jingle for these. Ooh, it's Floorcast. Okay, maybe not that. But I'm going to just get into it. No preamble, no intro for this one.
Hey, what are you talking about? What about me? I get paid to just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, I know. I just want to get into it because I don't really have the energy to do a lot of...
Hey, buddy. I know where you live.
Is that a threat?
Come on. I didn't threaten you. But I can do something worse.
Oh yeah? What's worse than that?
People are talking, okay, about this forecast. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Should I say everybody? Most people, a lot of people are talking about it. Okay, that's all I know. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I hear. I'm hearing it.
Oh, shit. All right. Next time we'll do an intro, okay?
All right. Sold, fella. Now just get on with the podcast.
Okay, I'm good to go now. All right. Wow. Okay. On with the Floorcast episode. A little diary entry of sorts. Again, I'm going to just talk about something that I was thinking about. All these little tidbits and nuggets of, insights of wisdom, they're just things that we can all apply to, our art career or our, just total package as artists. And each one of these things adds up and, fills in the gaps to make us a really well-rounded artist that actually can stand the test of time. So what am I going to be talking about today? Well, I was thinking about what makes an artist, and this is very broad, artist in any genre, what makes them really stand the test of time, what makes their art impactful, what makes us really drawn to their work. And, you can say a lot of things, but I really think it comes down to the old cliche of, doing what you know. I always say, write what you know, right? It's like the Bukowskis of the world. You may or may not like Bukowski, but he definitely wrote what he knew. He wrote about writing. He wrote about drinking. He wrote about womanizing. He wrote about all that kind of stuff, being down on your luck, gambling, going to the horse track. Those are all things he did, and that's what he wrote about. You could say Hemingway did the same thing. It was all about hunting. It was all about drinking. It was all about traveling. It was about war. It was about all these things that he had done in his life. And he, had a real window of insight into. And I think that's what comes through a lot. You can look at artists like, Sylvia Plath or Virginia Woolf or any of these artists. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female writer. That's one thing that is consistent, I think, with artists is that we have to do and create what we know. So let's take it broader. It's not about writing what you know. It's about creating what you know. You can go into the great directors too. Martin Scorsese. What was he doing? He was doing movies about stuff from the neighborhood, things that he'd witnessed as a kid and beyond. I mean, this is just stuff that he knew. It was stuff in his wheelhouse that he could make interesting, that he had a unique insight into. You can go on to the fine arts, Frida Kahlo. Okay. A lot of stuff about, being a feminist when that was kind of not very popular at the time, going through all these horrible injuries she had and surgeries that she had to go through and all these things that made her, who she was, her relationship with Diego Rivera, these meetings that they had with Trotsky and people like this. I mean, these are all things that were unique to her that she had a very unique perspective on, and she painted those and it resonates. And all those things kind of stand the test of time. I think you can tell when people are faking it a little bit. I think you can tell when people are trying to reach. I'm not saying don't stretch yourself. I definitely think you should be stretching yourself. But maybe we should be thinking about stretching ourselves from a different angle, getting more experience, getting more passion, cultivating different types of passions, different types of interests in our life, and getting into those, falling into those. And, it just expands our horizon. It gives us more in our wheelhouse that we can draw from. I've been doing a lot of work, a lot of my art when I can paint, which is very rare, unfortunately, these days. But in the past 5 years, a lot of my work has been very emotional, and it's been about illness and rage and working through all these intense emotions, feeling isolated, pain, chronic pain, near-death experiences, all that stuff. That's what my work has been about. And yes, it might look on the surface maybe like it's a beautiful abstract, but there's a lot of emotion that is in this. When I first started painting, I was painting a lot of scenes. I was painting a lot of figures, a lot of like pop surrealist stuff, iconic things. And I think that's because I really grew up in the movies. I grew up watching movies and watching TV and like really idolizing different types of artists and performers and musicians and actors and stuff like that. So I always saw things like kind of through a cinematic eye. And yes, I was an actor and I did stuff like that too. So that comes into it. But that was a version of creating what I knew at the time. I knew movies. I knew, iconic figures. I knew how to see things through a lens of like being almost like a cinematographer. And so you can look at some of my older pop surrealist works and you'll see that almost like cinematic eye there. So what do you know? How are you creating from an authentic place? Maybe you're going to be like, well, I don't have that much experience. Maybe I'm young. I don't really know a lot of stuff. Well, maybe it's your passions. Maybe it's maybe you're just really obsessed with music. Okay. Let's find a way to weave music and your knowledge of music into your art, whatever you're doing. Maybe it's an experience you had or experiences you had as a child. Maybe you had some, adverse childhood experiences, or, maybe you have some sort of condition that you can weave into your work that makes it authentic, that gives you a unique voice and a perspective that maybe other people don't really know or understand, but also it can resonate with them because it's part of the human experience and it's cathartic. Those things make us more impactful with our voice. And I use voice very broadly here. I don't just mean like, we're speaking. I mean our artistic voice. There are countless examples of this, but I think you can really draw from your experiences and you can really draw from your interests. I think that's the main thing. Maybe you had some really, extreme experiences with bullying as a kid, or maybe you have a love for sports, or you have a love for just lighting or architecture. Maybe that falls into, maybe you're like a landscape painter and that falls into how you paint in a unique way, how the angles and how the light and the shadows hit the angles of the buildings and how these pieces are kind of put together and assembled almost like somebody would assemble a building or build a building from the ground up, like an architect designing it. Maybe that goes into your landscapes. You get the idea of what I'm saying. This can be very broad. You can also specialize in this. You can really, get down to the nitty gritty. You can get down to all the small details. And like we can specialize with our marketing, like in our niche audience, we can be very niche with our interests and writing what we know. It's like going back to Bukowski. I mean, he didn't really I know he traveled and did some stuff, but he really started out not doing much. He was just down on his luck. He was a drinker. He was a womanizer. He did these shitty jobs. And that's what he wrote about. You wouldn't think that would be very interesting. But because it was so bare bones and so honest, it became interesting because of him being authentic with his experience and showing it from a way that was unfiltered and unadulterated and very honest with his own experience. You get the idea here. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. I just think take this idea home, and maybe you are home. Well, take this idea into your room or take this idea into your studio. Take it into your brain and think about it. Kick it around a little bit. If you're struggling to find a way to be impactful and maybe you're reaching as far as like, I got to do something really crazy to get noticed in the art world or with my marketing or my social media, sometimes just getting back down to basics and really thinking about what makes you and what makes your voice impactful as an artist, really honing in on that, that can be one of the most important things you do, even more so than all this other stuff. This other stuff will come, but as long as you are saying something authentic that resonates with people or creating something authentic that resonates with people, that is going to set you up for a lifetime of good art. So we're going to leave it at that for today, everybody. Hopefully I will be off the floor one of these days. But thanks for listening Thanks for sticking it out with me, and look forward to bringing you another episode next week. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope you are weathering all the madness. Hope you're getting some creativity in. And as always, take care of yourselves. Take care of everybody else out there. And we'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. It's yeah. We're just talking about the Floorcast. Yeah.
It's good. Cash.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.